Have another talk with you over coffee. You always look so great, like a movie star framed in light, sweet perfume. My name is Scott Nicol. This is Studio D. This is the fourth podcast in the series. We've already had the fantastic Debbie Campbell and Jeremy Lviv and Robert Neal. I've got my good friend Colin Hyslop from Colin Hyslop Photography, and I want to thank him for providing Studio D for us. We've known each other for a good few years, had many a laugh.
Many a song.
Many a song, and you just love to sing. We're going to talk about your photography, but we know each other really through music.
Yes.
And we love Bruce Springsteen, we love a lot of other different styles of music, but where did your love of singing, because the thing is this, I used to teach Colin the guitar, still probably a little bit, and then it got into, he just wanted to sing.
And the guitar sits in the corner in my
He just wanted me to play, and he would sing anything.
It was better that way. Like.
But you're a great singer. We've sang, I've played for you many times, but where did that love of music start, you think?
I think it probably comes very much from my going to visit my gran on a Saturday, and on the turntable there was Maria Lanza, as I've heard in the previous podcast. She had one of these old record players there that had 33s and 45s, and the Mario Lanza, the Drink, Drink, Drink. I'm trying to think, what was the name of the album there? I'll flash it up in the video. I can't remember either. My memory's not very good either. So really, listening to that, and there's no musical influences really in, or from the point of view of performance in the family. My dad was a huge fan of country music, so the early time would be spent listening to Glenn Campbell, who I think is absolutely superb.
Superb.
Great talent. Boxcar Willie, which sounds like a disease, and John Denver. Excellent songwriters in my opinion. And I mean the time with Jimmy Webb, who's obviously with Glenn Campbell's music. I think that listening to that music from my dad is probably what got me into music in its first place.
So you've sang. I've heard you sing many times solo. You've been in choirs. You're a lead singer of a band. But so, where did that start? Like getting in and performing in front of people? That's a different thing.
It's a totally different thing. If I go back again to school days, I would go into musical shows that the school did because they were excellent shows, and I would get the words and I'd panic and I'd say, I can't do that. I'm not way can I learn all that, and I'd pull out, and I did that 3 or 4 times in the secondary school.
But you obviously knew you could sing to even be thinking of doing it.
Yeah, I could. I mean, I could sing, but at that point, my focus was very much in playing sport. I was a very keen badminton player. A reasonable standard at squash, table tennis. So that was where the focus was. I think an awful lot of these things come from your peer group. You're in school. Sure. If in a group of people who are into music, then you tend to go down that line. I was pretty much into sport, so that really got all my attention until years later when karaoke comes in the scene. Yee-hoo! And you go up there with the karaoke microphone in your hand, and people seem to like what you're doing. So that obviously breeds a bit of confidence. I lived in a street where the next door neighbour played rhythm guitar. A good friend of his had a lead guitar. We had a drummer. And we decided after performing at parties that we should try and get together and see how it would go. And
you became the lead singer of a band, which I never knew yet in those days. So what was the band and what kind of stuff would you do? And where would you play?
Well, the band was called Reflections. Hello there to the guys if you're still around. You are still around if you see this though. We played the pub and club scene in Lanarkshire.
So what kind of stuff would you
pub
sing?
rock.
And you were the lead singer?
I was the lead singer. So pub rock, all your tunes that people know, all the rock classics. So that was the first introduction to performance. I'm thinking going back, the first introduction I had to music, and I apologise for this in advance, was Rolf Harris's The Court of King Caractacus.
What is that?
Now the ladies in the harem of the Court of King Caractacus was just passing by. I won't do the whole song for the camera,
thankfully,
but I can.
Right?
But then following on from that, I got the album Evita. Right? And I think it was David Essex performing Oh What a Circus.
Okay.
Was my first introduction to musical theatre, aged 13, really early. And I had this thing in my head from the ages of 13 to whatever it was that I would love to play that role in the musical Evita at some point.
Have you?
I didn't, but I stood against a guy, Johnny Collins, who did play the part when I did the musical with the Runway Theatre Company up in Eastwood about 9 years ago. Absolutely superb. So I was in the band. I was in the band probably for about 4 or 5 years, starting at age 36.
Wow.
So it took me to the age of 36 to get any confidence to do it. I was working away and they sacked me. Unbeknown to them, they did me the biggest favour and came back up, and my mother has said that the local theatre company was looking for somebody for Jesus Christ Superstar. That was back in 2003. I went along, auditioned, sung Eric Clapton's Tears in Heaven.
Wow.
Got in and absolutely loved it from there. You saw the last Jesus Christ Superstar I was in.
And it was amazing.
Aye. So,
And I've got to say, I would never have went if Colin hadn't been in it, but I went and absolutely loved it.
I blown away with it. It was
Loved it.
It was a great show. So that 2003 to 2019, I was within
Are
Hamilton.
you still with that company?
No, last year because I was no longer working in Glasgow.
Okay.
The point of travelling, they were looking for sort of three rehearsals a week to come from down here up to Hamilton for 3 rehearsals. I decided I would join the Air company, and I joined Air Operatic.
Yeah.
Air
And you're also in a
company.
choir.
Yeah, about 15 years ago, I was sitting on a Sunday afternoon, or a wet Sunday
Is this
afternoon.
where you met
in my
Rona?
flat. No, well,
Because they're both good friends of mine. Rona's not here today.
no, it wasn't where I met Rona. Because I actually, I'm sitting in the flat, looking on the equivalent of Data Thistle, the site that tells you all the things that are on or what are coming, and I saw this posting for the music choir, show choir, different. I can't remember the wording of it now, and I sat there saying, "Will I go to it? Will I not go to it? Well, I might as well. Nothing to stop me going." Went along to it, and it's been 15 years of pure joy. It's been a great experience. We've sang in all the best places. And
we were talking recently, and to my shame, I've actually never been to Dumfries House. I need to put that right. But you've sang with some really quite famous people in that.
Yeah, in the musical theatre world.
Musical theatre world.
And outside of musical theatre world, probably. They start every March, including the one that's coming up. There's 2 or 3 stars from the West End stage and Broadway stage, and they bring them up and they provide them with a lovely weekend of accommodation in the lodges at Dumfries House, and we put on 2 shows and our choir backs them.
And obviously Jai McDowell.
Jai McDowell, yeah, we're back Jai many times.
Local hero.
We're back Jai many times, including 2 shows just before Christmas. We've sang with Ray Quinn, we've sang with Sam Bailey, who won the various X Factor programmes. The guy who replaced...
I've actually met Sam Bailey.
Have you? Right, okay. The guy who replaced the Frankie Goes to Hollywood's lead singer.
Who's that?
Please, Robert, help us out on that one.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood's lead singer.
Aye.
No, Holly Johnson.
Holly Johnson, that's it. So
the guy who replaced him.
when Frankie Goes to Hollywood had their 25 year,
Hollywood.
it was their 25-year anniversary.
Okay.
They wanted to do a 25-year anniversary show, and Holly Johnson had said that he didn't want to do it. So on ITV there was a programme to find a replacement, and there was a Scottish lad by the name of.
And am I right in saying is it Joe McKeldry? Is that the right name?
Well, we're singing with Joe McKeldry this May. The guy had been playing the lead in the Jersey Boys in the West End for a long time. Malloy. I need to cut
That's
that
okay. That's okay.
Aye. And he was one of these guys who, when he came on for the warm up, he really didn't give very much, and we were thinking, what's this guy? As soon as he put an audience in front of him, he was electric. So he performed in the 25-year anniversary concert for Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and he's absolutely superb.
And you've sung a few times with me.
Many times with you.
Playing the guitar.
Yeah, even more famous.
Yeah, well, because I was saying, I was kind of jokingly saying, but I would describe you as like you would sing at the drop of a hat. I mean, you like would sing
a friend I
anywhere and anywhere.
A friend I worked with said that if they opened the fridge door and the light came on, they would perform. I love that line. Open the door, the light comes on, and they'll perform.
So who would be your favourites? Who would be your favourite artists?
obviously we have a joint love of Bruce Springsteen and the
we do.
music of
Yeah.
that man. Growing up, I was a prog rocker, Genesis,
Yeah.
Marillion,
Oh, Marillion, I remember you said.
Derek William Dick, or Fish as he's otherwise known.
Yes, yes.
And I like that. That was the kind of music that floated my boat. There was at the age of school days, you were either a Led Zeppelin fan or you were a Pink Floyd fan. A lot of the class were Led Zeppelin, but I preferred Pink Floyd.
Okay.
And the album The Wall is the one that really whetted the appetite for music.
I must have missed that one because that was never at my school.
Was it not?
With that,
I was older than me, but
oh, that's why. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
So Pink Floyd. I never did the drugs that went along with it, being a clean living lad.
Thankfully.
But, that's right. But so yeah, those were the main ones that I would listen to. Quite a huge amount. I actually had a period where I was working with someone. I don't know if this is even legal, but there was we might cut this. There was a club where you could rent CDs from, and you maybe hired them for 2 or 3 days when CDs first came out. So you got those discs.
What do you mean?
Recorded them. It was a just
like
a video hire.
I
company.
got you. Yes.
You could hire CDs from.
Yes.
So I ended up with a huge collection. Eric Clapton, I loved Eric Clapton, Elton John. Just a massive amount of music, and that's what's whetted the appetite. But never had the confidence until I got to the age of 40 to actually do it live. I knew we'd do it every.
And we used to jam some guitars, and now it's
We
just
did.
vocal.
It's just vocal. I do that better, and I'm not being biased. I just obviously bad I play guitar.
So I wanted to move into because you're obviously a great photographer. I love this, and every time I come into your studio, I'm like, who's that? What's that? I may have seen it a number of times, but just great images. Yeah. And you've done a couple of videos as well. In fact, you've done for a local musician.
No, many times for 2 local musicians. One who was in the first podcast, and the good gentleman here, and
And the videos have turned out great.
Well, it's a great, this is a great facility. We're sitting in. This was one that we woke up one morning when there was a rusting timber shed here, and had an idea that we would build a studio. And most of this was built by ourselves, without the electrics or the putting the windows in or the felt roof. I did the majority of the joinery work, and obviously Rona was a great help in painting things, and so this is mostly work that we've done ourselves.
Well, it's beautiful,
and it's a great facility.
So it's went from the man cave to Studio D.
It's now Studio D. It is indeed.
So tell us about your photography, because you're great, and you've had a few exhibitions. I know in the hospital. Is it the hospital?
Yeah, well, obviously better go back chronologically. I was age 17 or 18. I started to get into photography, and like many people do, you get a camera and a lens, and then you add another lens, and then you add a flash and another lens, and you end up with quite a lot of photography equipment.
Sure.
Well, at that point, my house was broken into, and they stole all my photography equipment.
Oh man.
They also stole my Pride and Joy Marantz music system that I got for my 21st birthday. But what really annoyed me, and I'll use that phrase, was that on the turntable there was a Marillion album, my favourite Marillion album. They took it off the turntable, they threw it on the floor.
No way.
So not only were they thieving bees, they also had no taste in music. Right? So that's debatable. I don't know. All my camera equipment was stolen. When the loss adjuster tots it all up, it ends up as a fair amount of money because you've added items over a period of time.
Sure.
The loss adjuster came along and said, "We'll buy you a better quality camera, but it'll be in a kit form, so the value is less than doing it that way. Would you be happy to go with that?" I was getting a better camera out of it, and I was happy to do so.
Right.
That was at that time, and we all remember the times of going to a chemist to get a spool of film developed and being abjectly disgusted when you see what you get back, and there's nothing of any use. So kind of moved away from that at the time with family and work, and when digital photography came back in again, I get back into it in a big way. And using YouTube videos, I've taught myself to get to a fairly reasonable standard, proficient in Lightroom and Photoshop.
Would you say you had? I mean, you've done many weddings and that.
Yeah.
Do you say is there any? I'm not a photographer, so is there any that you spent? That would be your speciality.
My particular favourite is portraits. I love portraits of people. I could spend all the time doing that. We actually had this was quite busy with family shoots, prior to COVID, and it hasn't really get going again. And to be fair, we probably haven't pushed it ourselves. But no, portrait work is what I do like.
Obviously, if folk want to get in touch with you, we're just plugging things as well here. You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram?
Facebook, Instagram, mostly Facebook, Instagram, and there's a website, and all of them are Colin Hyslop Photography. And make sure it's Hyslop with a Y, because there is a Hyslop Photography, Colin Hyslop Photography with an I, and he also comes from the same town that I do. So what's the chances of that?
And which was Hamilton?
Hamilton, yeah, I came down here 15 years ago, but yeah, up to then it was Hamilton. And
your daughter just recently got married, didn't she?
She did, yeah.
Ashley.
We had an absolute ball of a time. She was down here last Thursday, so
I met her last Thursday.
the open night. And she's a lovely lassie, and she's in a good place. So
and one of your grandsons is budding musician.
He's doing really well. I'm living my life through him. I bought him my only regret in life is I didn't take a guitar up when I was young. So I wanted to make sure that Lewis had that opportunity. Got him an acoustic guitar, in fact actually it was an electric guitar first, followed by an acoustic guitar, and like every 12, 13 year old, he's already doing things that I will never ever be able to do, with sponges. And he's now getting to the stage where there's other things are taking his interest. He's very much into football. His father's a football coach, but he's still, I'm glad to see him picking up the guitar. Good. Recent parents' night, there seems to be two strains of music that they teach him. I don't know what they are, but he's excelling in both of those. So I believe he's now at the stage where he chooses his fourth year subjects, and music is going to be a big part of that. So he's all man's delighted with that.
I'm sure.
He was learning recently "The Sunshine of Your Love" by Eric Clapton to play that. Do 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 do. We need to sing that one.
You need to sing that one.
I'll sing that one.
I need to play it.
Yeah, you got a bass guitar?
I do have a bass guitar.
Right, get the bass guitar out.
So what have you got coming up that's like either in the photography, video, singing? You've got a couple of choir things.
We have Dumfries House. We have a couple of nights in March, start early-ish March, and that's with Joe McElderry from Pop Idol, X Factor, one of those things. Pop
It was
Idol.
one of these. I don't know the name.
Can't remember which one it was. Well, it's from Newcastle. We've sang with him before in the Usher Hall. And a local lass, I don't know whether you would know her, Kelly Matheson. Right?
Tell me more. How local?
Ayr. She's a lass from Ayr, and she's been playing the lead in the Phantom of the Opera for the last 2 years. So she's doing all right.
She's doing great.
Kelly Matheson. I've never heard her sing.
No.
But that's.
So when is that?
I think if it's not the first weekend in March, it's round about the 8th and 9th of
Dumfries
March
House.
In Dumfries House.
So everybody can buy tickets?
You can buy tickets, they're online, you can get them there.
What's the name of your choir again?
Music Choir with
choir.
one C.
That's Neil Thompson?
Neil Thompson. So it started 15 years ago in Glasgow. Excuse me. And Neil ran that for the first 6 months of the very first concert we were doing. We were in the Woodside Halls in Glasgow, and great story, they were setting the stage up and getting it ready for us. Somebody smelled smoke. There's smoke in here. Call the fire brigade. So the fire brigade all rush into Woodside Halls. We're all pumped out into the pavement in the middle of Mary Hill. So the warm up was, and the moment the warm up was started on the pavement outside in Mary Hill. Wow. We got so far through it, they discovered that somebody who'd been setting up the stage had a fag, dropped it through the stage and set fire to a carpet that was in the understage area. So the firemen were able to put the fire out, and the first performance, before we actually go in the actual concert, our first audience was a whole group of firemen sitting in the front row while we sang.
Did you sing I'm on Fire?
Burn, baby, burn!
Did you say I'm on Fire by Bruce Springsteen?
No, Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. And there were a big row of firemen at the front of it. So that was the first concert. I had actually met Rona, and the first date was at the rugby, where we went to see Scotland versus Italy, which we're about to do again. Wow. So I actually met Rona before the first concert. She came along I convinced her to buy tickets. No, I didn't. I bought her a ticket, I think.
Hopefully.
We probably went 50-50 like we do in everything else, but anyway. So she got her ticket, her and her pal came along, Carol came along to see the first concert. They were blown away with my dance steps. Believe that if you will. And Neil, who was a peripatetic music teacher, I think he still is, was working in Prestwick Academy.
I was really good.
So after I'll do the first one. So Neil set up an Ayrshire choir down here, and rolling on 15 years, it's still going strong.
Right.
And it's been a terrific journey. And it's one of these ones that I look upon that I could quite easily have said on that Sunday afternoon, I can't be bothered, and just sat in my chair. And none of this would have happened. I would never have met Rona. I would have met Rona, but she wouldn't have been blown away with my dance steps. And we've both had a great time with it.
So apart from the Dumfries thing, is there any more gigs that you've got coming up with the choir? Is there any more exhibitions?
Well, on the 6th of August, there's a whole group of Germans coming across from the Town 20, because we're involved with the Town 20.
Okay, I was going to ask you about the Town 20, if you want to speak about that.
Yeah, so. Prestwick Town 20 Association, of which Rona is the president. It's 50 years since they signed the declaration with the Germans. So it's been a 50-year friendship with people from the Lichtenfels in Bavaria. Okay. And every few years we go and stay with in their houses and visit them, and they take us all over to the lovely places. You've been to Italy.
It was wonderful.
It was a fantastic trip.
Wonderful.
And likewise, every so often they'll come to us. And next year.
And we played for them.
And you played for them the last time they were here. That was a great night. It was Germans.
Germans, yes.
Yeah.
That was
Big
great.
head up to Oscar. Oscar came up. Oscar doesn't speak an awful lot of English, but he came up and sang with Scott. It was a Beatles song and Loch Lomond. I think he did too.
Wow.
And a great job that he made of it. That was great fun. So
that was great fun.
And thanks to you and Debbie for
It
doing these things.
It was great night.
So in the 6th of August, there's a civic reception, and we're hoping it will be a contingency from Germany, a contingency from the USA, which is Vandela in Ohio, and a contingency from Aricia in Italy.
Have I got an invite that?
You're playing. He's on stage. He's providing the entertainment. He's emptying the hall at the end of the day. Yeah.
Emptying the
So you're the star. You're the star in the night, and I'm hopeful that our choir will be there to accompany you in a couple of songs. But no, it's life's about making experiences.
Absolutely.
And the experiences we're having on a Thursday night at the jam sessions.
Yes.
The experiences of travelling to wonderful places and seeing wonderful things.
Yeah.
For me, that's what life's about, and I've been very lucky to be able to experience them.
And I've been very fortunate to interview you today. So this is the 4th podcast, Studio D.
Yeah.
My good friend Colin Hyslop. Check out Colin Hyslop Photography on Instagram, Facebook. I was just to finish the hospital. Remember you had the exhibition in the hospital. Any more exhibitions coming up?
Hopefully at some point we've had a number of exhibitions in Ayr Hospital and Crosshouse Hospital, and I first wrote to them, and I'm guessing it would probably be 2014. I wrote to them and I said, look, can we put our photographs up here? As you'll see, this place is loaded with different images that they're not in camera apart from this one. And I got a letter back saying, absolutely, you can put your images up in the corridor at Thin Air in 2027. So this was 13 years on from the time that I wrote the letter to them. And I was like,
I didn't take it long.
I might not even be alive at the time. I might be dead. However, I managed to make it, and they actually had us there. I think the first one was maybe about two and a half years ago.
Yeah.
And you go in there with expectations of selling nothing. I've never done this before, and I actually sold 34 images in that first session.
That's great.
And the hospital takes it, a good cut. So there's just helping hospital funds. We've since had a couple of them, but it's not just about selling images, which is lovely. It's about seeing what they do for people when they're in hospital, which they're generally not in a particularly good place.
That's right.
If they're in the hospital, they can look at the photographs and relate to them. One old gentleman was getting pushed in the corridor by his daughter. I would have said he was in his 90s, and there was, I'm no specialist, but there was definitely dementia, and he was a wee bit away with it. That's a horrible thing to say, but he saw one of the photographs that I had of an old Riley motor car up on the wall here, coming along the seafront at Prestwick, and 1951 that was, so that tied in with his age as a kid and his interest in cars. So he sat and he watched it for a bit, and you could see it was starting to to get memories coming back.
Yeah.
And I talked to his daughter, and his daughter said, he used to love to play in the sand tunes in Prestwick. And I said, well, look at that photograph over there, and pointed him further down the corridor, and it was the sand dunes in Prestwick. And he started looking at that, and he started crying. Right now, I'm lump in my throat, and I come home and said to Rona, I don't care if I don't sell another picture at all here.
Oh, that's lovely.
That was more important,
worth it.
seeing what that did for that man. And
Beautiful.
photographs they can touch the heart.
Absolutely.
They definitely can. So no, very, very, pleased to see what my photographs can do for people. Love doing it.
Yeah.
Love singing anytime yourself, and love singing anytime basically. And yeah,
Thanks
life is
for,
good.
Thanks for a great interview. Colin Hyslop Photography, Studio D. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Another talk with you over coffee. You always